Oh man, guys on here already. Diehards. Darren, whereabouts are you? Are you here or in Montreal? Oh, Joe's in. Oh, you're in Oshawa. Good. So we'll hear you on the radio maybe. Oh my gosh, my hair looks horrible. I fell asleep before I came here. I had supper and then I laid down just for a quote minute and I fell asleep. Oh well, that's what the long weekends are for. Who the heck is chunking the repeater? It's not me because I got a squeaky mic, right, Joe? Good evening, everybody. This is Laird VE3LKS, and I'd like to welcome you to the COVID-19 Rag Chew. Oh my goodness, we're on week 10 already, the Monday night edition, and it's been sort of an ugly weekend for the May 2-4 weekend, but we'll survive, and hope everyone had a good weekend. I know some people were away, others were around home, and so maybe you can fill us in on all the dirty details as we go through the list. Anyways, at this point, I will take a short standby and or a long one, depending on how many people check in, and take chickens. Yes, I'll take chickens too. Check-ins for the COVID-19 Rag Chew.
VA3 Romeo Tango Victor.
VA3 BCQ.
Victor Alpha 3 Delta Charlie Echo.
V3 CWR.
Victor Alpha 3 Tango Papa Sierra.
Victor Echo 3, Victor Golf Juliet.
Almost sounds like an APRS burst. Okay, I'll tell you who we've got so far. I've got VA3 RTV, that's Jeffrey. VA3 BTQ Jackie, glad to hear you back on the air. VA3 DCE Doug. VE3 CWR Gerard. VA3 TPS Steve, and VE3 VGJ Joe. There's someone else who's trying to get in, but you're breaking the squelch. There's a bit of noise, but that's about it. No audio as such. We'll take another standby and see if anybody else would like to check in at this time.
Victor Echo 3 Papa Whiskey Juliet.
VA3 RPN mobile.
Okay, and I acknowledge VE3 PWJ Peter and VE3 RPN Scott. And Scotty, I tried that chicken tonight for supper. Got the stuffing mix and everything, but they had an idea on the box, and that was instead of using water to mix with the instant stuffing, to use diced tomatoes. And so I did that, and it was really quite good. I haven't tried it the regular way yet, but I'll tell you one thing, with the diced tomatoes in there, it was added something extra too. Anyways, back up to the top of the list to Jeffrey, VA3 RTV.
Yes, good evening, Laird, and I've just come to. I've kind of been sleeping most of the day, so got to kind of get the wheels turning. With that, back to you.
That was funny. I was just telling the guys on the YouTube channel that I laid down after supper. I thought I would just stretch out on the couch for a few minutes, and about an hour and 20 minutes later, I wake up, and so my hair is not coiffed as it normally is if you're on the YouTube station. And yeah, it's It wasn't a pretty sight, but it felt good to have a nap. Probably won't take me much to fall asleep again tonight either. Yeah, and let's see. We do have Darren NMD. He's on the YouTube station. Let's see who else is. Some of the guys that checked in already is here. Who's not on the air yet? Brian BAH. He's on YouTube. Good evening, Brian. And very good. So we'll go to Jackie, VA3BTQ, and I'm glad you got the radio situation all checked out.
Hi, Laird, BA3BTQ. This is really a miracle. Both Scotty and Darren helped me in the parking lot at White Feather Farm on Saturday morning, and I missed everybody else, and that still didn't work. Then my best friend Jeffrey came along, and he dug and dug and dug and finally got the radio working. And I am also on YouTube, so thanks to Jeffrey. Over.
Well, excellent. Maybe that's why Jeffrey's so tired out. He worked all weekend getting your radio going, and that's great. Gary Zed is online. Good evening, Gary. Glad to have you. And what was that about? Coiffed. Yeah, my hair. My hair is finally coiffed, but not tonight because I fell asleep and it's all messed up. And it's not QUA, it's COIFF and a bunch of other letters. Anyways, let's see who's next. Glad to have you with us, Jackie, and I just say glad you got everything fixed. VA3 DCE Doug, way up there in Uxbridge.
Well, it's not snowing up here, Laird, but I was beginning to wonder about your voice there, and until I heard you had a nap. You've just finished a 3-day weekend, and you sound like you've had a really rough time of it. Anyway, good to hear Jackie back on the air again, and we realize how much we have to thank Jeffrey for. Little things like fixing Jackie's radio is a nice thing. If you're looking at this weekend weather, take a look at next weekend and see what you think, because it may just pick you right up there. Back to you, Laird.
Very good, Doug. And man, Jackie's active on YouTube. I don't know if Jeff's quite in the building yet, Jackie, to open up the bar and grill, but Jackie wants a skunk burger. Oh, she's as tough as nails, that one. Let's see. VE3 CWR Gerard. VE3 CWR Gerard. Okay, well, I did hear him check in. Maybe he got a phone call or something. We'll come back to him in a few minutes. VA3 TPS Steve.
Well, good evening, Larry, and to everybody on frequency. Well, it was a pretty good weekend, actually. It didn't rain until late yesterday afternoon, so Saturday was beautiful and most of Sunday. So, of course, the wife kept me busy out in the yard doing stuff. I really got to find something for her to do, because the more time she spends sitting around not doing anything, the more she finds for me to do. So it's getting crazy. Now she's out there measuring and wanting to change something else, so I don't know. But yeah, we got a nice week coming up, so looking forward to that. Enjoy the weather, just maybe try to relax and do some front porch sitting. Back to you, Laird.
Very good. Very good. Yes. It's always good when the wife has a hobby that can distract her, so that you can get more time for your hobbies instead of doing all that honeydew list stuff. As long as she's not plotting a garden that's about 6 feet long and about 3.5 feet wide, and she wants it so deep, then you're okay. Anyways, Joe VE3 VGJ.
Yes, good evening, Laird and everybody on frequency. Well, it's been a busy weekend. I was up north there for part of it. Got things opened up there, and back home here, got the grass cut, and that done. I'm glad I did it yesterday, because this added rain is going to make it grow more. And this morning I got up, and I've been adding wires to different things all around the house, TV cables and what have you. So this morning I decided to clean it up, and so that took about an hour and a half, 2 hours, sorting all through stuff that was never used anymore. I forget what the type of communication cable it was. Oh, it was the old style for color TV, and that had some run underneath the explore to two locations and pulled that out. And anyway, it's just amazing the stuff you collect over the years. And one last thing there too, it's also sorry to hear about the captain there on the Snowbird who lost her life there in that incident out in BC. Back to you.
Yes, a terrible tragedy, and it sounds like they were just about all the way across the country too. So I don't know if they were going to head north and go up that way, but yeah, terrible. But you know what? Those things happen, and especially when you're flying planes that were built. How long ago did they say those planes are? They're like 40 or 50 years old. Maybe I'm too high, but yeah, it's sad, and it's interesting how the one seat ejected, but hers didn't. I don't know whether they're controlled independently or what, but that's too bad. Gary is wondering, he can hear me scratchily in S4, direct on 147 on his SDR. And he says, is that good or bad from West Toronto, not too far from the airport? That's not too bad, Gary. And you'll need to put a comment in there as well as to what kind of antenna you have. If it's just a little antenna that's on the radio itself, then that's probably really good. But an outdoor antenna that you have maybe mounted on the roof or something, you may get a bit better signal. But yeah, that's not too bad from the airport area. So glad that you're hearing us on the air, actually. That's interesting. VE3 PWJ, Peter.
Yeah, good evening to everybody there tonight. You got a little crowd, but it may pick up. No, it's quite tough when you hear about the snowbirds. It's hard to believe just about 8 days ago they went right over top of us here. And I wanted to print them out today. Of course, the big printer decided it wasn't going to have any ink in it, so I had to order ink for it. So once I get the ink in the thing, I'll try and print out some pics that I did get. Didn't have a whole lot of time. They were moving pretty quick. So we'll go and get some more beans there, Laird, and we'll listen by here.
So let me get this straight. The printer that you're always telling me is so fantastic because it's got these huge ink cartridges ran out of ink?
No, two complete different printers. The one downstairs that has the bottles is not a photo printer, but this one is. It has six tanks on it, so one of them is out of ink, so and it will not print. So that's what it is. I wish they made the color printers with the bottles too, but I don't think they're doing that quite yet.
Oh, okay, very good. I was gonna make some wise comments here, but I'll refrain then. But that's good, Peter. Yeah, ink is, I think ink is probably worth more than gold per ounce. The amount that they charge for ink. I know I get mine online from, I think it's a company in Quebec that has an eBay site, and I get a lot of my ink from them. But yeah, depending on the model of your printer, and if you get the name brand ink, oh, yeah, it can hurt. Okay, we're at the bottom of the first go around here, so I'm going to take a short standby and see if anybody else would like to check into the Rag Chew. If you do, please come now.
C3, Cito, Victor, Echo 3, X3, Echo, Quebec.
Victor Echo 3, Kilowatt, Zulu, Tango.
VE3, IRB.
VE3HIX.
Okay, I'll tell you who I've got so far. I have Gerard, VE3CWR, VE3XEQ Christopher, VE3KZT John, VE3IRB Robert, and VE3HIX Bob. Anybody else want to check in at this time? Okay, very good. We'll go back up to Gerard. We did look for you a minute or two ago there, buddy, but I guess you had to step away from the microphone. Take it away.
Yeah, sorry about that. I had a landline there. I couldn't wait. Yeah, I think the first Tudor jets they got, they were training jets originally for pilots. I think they were in '63. They arrived, the first Tudors, but they didn't use them for shows. I don't know until the '70s or '80s, something I forget now. But anyway, does anybody know? And first of all, good evening, everybody. And does anybody know what the new 6-meter repeater frequencies are for OSH? I can't recall seeing it anywhere. Just wondering if they know yet. I have to.
You don't have it.
I ordered a prom today. It's not an EEPROM, it's a programmable prom. This thing has a programmable prom in it, so I have to program it or everything in again. So anyway, it's not erasable. It's one of the older proms. So anyway, does anybody know what the frequency is?
At the moment, Gerard, there is no frequency. There's no repeater that's active right now for 6 meters.
No, but they're building one, eh? So I was just wondering if they had picked out a frequency yet.
Okay, I'll defer to Jeffrey and Bob. Maybe they know.
And we'll have to defer to Alex.
Okay, so I guess we're out of luck tonight, Gerard, but we'll try to get to the bottom of it and see what we can find. Let's see, Christopher, VE3XEQ, good evening.
Anyway, well, I'm going to step out here, Laird. I got to go back to the phone again. So anyway, everybody have a great evening there, and I'll probably be around listening. So anyway, take care. E3CWR.
Okay, very good, Gerard. And yeah, maybe we'll find out from Lex and see what he has to say. Because I'm sure they probably got a temporary permission for something from Windsork to be coordinated. And yeah, we'll see what we can find out. Next on the list, Christopher, VE3XEQ.
Well, there must be two of us on here. I heard to call the same guy twice. Very good evening, everybody. Very good evening. Hope everybody's doing well. Had a good weekend, so forth. You know, there was a young couple that lived up north, and the husband was a avid hunter. They had a couple of children, a girl that is 6 years old and a boy 5 years old. The wife asked the husband, "What would you like for dinner tonight, dear?" And he said, "Well, why don't you cook out those venison steaks? Well, you know, that would be great. But don't tell Mary and Johnny that what they are." She cooked them up, and they were sitting having dinner, enjoying it very much. So the daughter Mary asked her, "Daddy, you know, what kind of meat is this? Because it tastes really good. I'm enjoying it." So he said, "Well, that's good. I'm glad to hear that. Well, it's the same kind of meat that the name I called your mother all the time."
Oh, no,
Her
don't
eyes
say it.
bugged out, looked at her brother,
say it.
and yelled at him, "Johnny, spit it out. It's blank hole."
Oh, you had me worried there for a minute, Christopher. I thought I was going to have to pull the beeper out. Yes. Yes. Okay, very good. And yeah, I wouldn't want to eat that. But yeah, it's venison. Oh, man. I like venison. I could handle some right about now. Let's see. We do have Gary. Gary Zed was wondering, he's got 3 antennas. One is an old CB antenna. The other is a long wire with a 9-to-1 balun thrown out the window and stretched over some trees. And he was, and Bill, William, VA3WBZ, he's on YouTube tonight. He won't be on the air, but wishing everybody on here a happy Victoria Day weekend and to stay healthy. Yep, 73s to you, Bill. William, too, and sorry. And hope all is going well with you. Yeah, so Gary, the CB antenna, you could definitely listen on anything. Anything's better than nothing. But transmitting wise, no. Transmitting 2 meters on a CB antenna. CB is roughly around 27, 28 megahertz, and the 2 meters way up around 144, and they're not even sort of a multiple of each other. So yeah, I would say that you're probably not going to do too well if you try transmitting. I mean, you can hook it up and put a meter on it and see what the SWR is, but it may be out quite a bit. Let's see. Who's next on the list? John, VE3KZT.
Good evening, Laird, and all those on frequency. I hope everyone had a good weekend. Today wasn't too pleasant a day with the rainy weather. It's a good day to, like yourself, lay around and nap. I have nothing really to add to the net. I'll just sit here and listen. VE3KZT.
Yeah, I could shoot myself for listening to the weatherman, though, John, because originally it was supposed to be sunny on Saturday and then raining the rest of the weekend. And I got up Sunday and it was sunny until the middle of the afternoon, and I could have gone out golfing, for Pete's sakes. But yeah, the rain finally did come, and so at least my new grass seed and fertilizer got absorbed a bit. And yeah, it was just one of those lazy weekends. The weather wasn't too warm, and it was damp and cool, so good time for napping. And it's one of those weekends where you're glad you didn't go camping, because it just would have been miserable. Let's see, VE3 IRB, Robert.
VE3 IRB, talking about the snowbird lady going down. Just today I was talking about somebody and saying the most interesting conversation I've ever heard on the radio was on 80 meters once, and it was a retired U-2 pilot talking about their early days in flying the military planes. It was just one of those conversations you just had to stop and listen. It was incredible, and what those people went through and what I'm sure the people today go through. He talked about how the technology got better over the years, but still, it really is quite incredible what all these military pilots go through in particular. Anyways, just throw that thought in and throw it back to you.
Yeah, it sure is. And the one thing about these military pilots is I think they're usually like one brick short of a load anyways, because they like to live on the edge. Like those guys that flew the U-2. I mean, that thing was almost outer space, and and then when they came along with space shuttles and spacecraft rockets and that, these guys were more than happy to jump in and say, "Hey, yeah, I want to do that." Think about it. They're basically strapped to what would be the equivalent of a huge piece of dynamite, and yeah, shoot me up and out of the atmosphere. That sounds like fun. But I guess that's part of anything. It's like, to be a doctor or a nurse, you have to have certain personality traits that make you fitting for that position. And these a lot of these pilots, they have to almost be adrenaline junkies, which to us sounds absurd, but that's exactly what you want. And you need people who don't think about what they're going to do, but just do it. Because if you have to think about what your next move is going to be in some of those planes, you're too late already. VE3HIX, Bob.
Well, good evening, Larry. Good evening, everybody on the repeater. I tuned in too late to find out what the topic was tonight, but if it's about interesting conversations on the radio. When I was first getting back into CW many years ago, I wasn't part of this, but I was listening on the air for practice, and I heard a lady, Kim on, she gave her name. It wasn't very fast, back and forth, easy copy. And she lived she was a daughter of a military person. She lived in Fort Knox on Bullion Way. And I thought, and the other guy came back, he says, "Was that like in the movie Goldfinger?" She says, "Yes, that's the exact place." So I'd never heard of that before or since. Anyway, back to you, Larry, the E3HIX.
Well, isn't that something? Yeah, there's you can hear a lot of interesting conversations going on, and that is a pretty cool story about being at Fort Knox and living on Bullion Way, Gold Crescent. Who knows what else? Silver Lining, Lane or something. It'd be interesting to find out the names. See, now you got to, Bob. Now you got to go in and find all the names, the street names at Fort Knox, and report back on that tomorrow. That's your task for the evening. Let's see. We've reached the bottom of the list. And so we'll take another round of check-ins before we go back to the top. So if you're sitting on the side debating whether to come on, pick up that microphone, hit the push to talk, and give us your call sign. This is Laird, VE3LKS.
Victor Alpha 3, Alpha Bravo Zulu. VA3AG. VE3LWJ.
Sounds like Larry's having a party. Okay, I copied VA3APZ, VA3AG, that's Eldo, and VE3LWJ, and it sounds like Larry's having a party at his place. We'll go back up to VA3APZ. Good evening. I'm not familiar with that call, so if you can let me know what your first name is. My name is Laird, VE3LKS, and welcome to the COVID-19 Rag Chew.
Roger, the name is Alan. We did meet, member of the Whitby group, and
okay.
Over in Whitby at one of the coffee breaks, we did meet once upon a time.
Yep.
My particular challenges, I am visually impaired, but we still are active. My chauffeur, Scott, he has been giving me a lift to our coffee breaks that we've had on Saturdays, and of course that's out for a while. But sailing has been my game, and you talk about some communication, and I had an email from one of the sailing boats that's now about 37 built in Whitby, mid-Atlantic, on one of his trips across the Atlantic.
Oh, that's cool. That's very cool. And speaking of Scott, is that Scott RPN?
That is RPN, and then there's Jimmy, and I'm still, when I heard him on his voice, I thought, oh, he finally has a radio that's active, but obviously he was using YouTube.
Actually, sometimes Jimmy comes on here with an actual radio with a real antenna attached to it. So we give him all ends of grief over here. And I understand you guys in Whitby are doing the same thing. So keep up the good work. And sooner or later, we'll get Jimmy on HF with an antenna. But that's perfect. Well, glad to have you with us, Alan. We're doing this every weeknight. So Monday to Friday at 7 o'clock. For as long as this COVID-19 restrictions are in place where we're not allowed to be out socializing. So you're more than welcome to join us any evening, and it's nice having you on this evening. And when you mentioned Scott, I just realized I think I missed Scott. VE3RPN, did I miss you, Scotty?
This VE3RPN, that's okay, Laird. A little bit of psychological counseling and a couple of months of therapy, I'll be fine. That's okay, buddy. You're having a good old time. Good to hear my buddy Al, and always good to hear Aldo there. And yeah, welcome. We're a crazy bunch too. So either way, you're not getting into the normal yet. We're still crazy in a nice way. Speaking of which, when I was younger, the only people that were going to the moon was Ralph, and he was sending Alice to the moon. And I think that was the only kind of astronauts I knew before I got old enough to realize they weren't the only ones there.
To the moon.
Anyway,
Alice.
your tomato bit sounds pretty darn good on the stuffing. I'm going to do that for myself. My wife even takes tomatoes out of the spaghetti. She's not normal, though. You know that. She's not in the car. I can get away with that. Over to you there, Ragnet Control, VE3RPN.
Yeah, so Scotty, it was really simple. Instead of you just open up the bag of instant stuffing, and instead of adding any moisture to it, you just dump in a can of stewed tomatoes. like the 19-ounce can, not the huge can, but the 19-ounce can or the 540 mils, whatever you like, and mix that up and then put it on. And it was really quite nice. I'm still going to try it the other way too, but I had the stewed tomatoes and I thought, what the heck, I'll give it a go. And very good. Alan mentioned that he has some visual impairment. Well, he's lucky that's all he has, because Scotty and I think most of the guys in this group would admit that we may have some impairment between our ears. Let's see. Aldo, VA3AG, good evening.
Good evening, Laird and Alan and Scott and everyone on the repeater. This is VA3AG. Just killing some time before Din Din.
Yes.
And just sitting down here, goofing off, playing around with the radios and internet, and staying safe. That's the main thing, isn't it? Got to go to work tomorrow, so I'll be going in for 9 a.m., so it'll be an interesting day. We'll see what happens. Anyway, back to you, Laird. How you doing tonight?
Not doing too bad, Aldo, but I'm complaining because my hair is all messed up. I fell asleep after supper. I was just going to relax on the couch for a few minutes, and a few minutes turned into a bit over an hour, and my hair's all messed up. But that's the way it goes. Gary Zed online was talking about antennas. Gary, you don't need to spend a fortune on antennas or even cut down any of your CB antennas. If you want to build a real inexpensive antenna, you can get some ladder line. That's like the old TV wire. There's two leads, going up, and it's separated by some plastic. You can make an antenna out of that for both transmitting and receiving on VHF and UHF. So maybe I'm sure I've got a diagram of one in here in my shack somewhere. So I'll email it to you if you're interested. And it's easy because you can actually just tie a rope around the top of it and throw it in a tree and hang it from a tree if you want to. As a matter of fact, that's what Larry's doing, LWJ. And speaking of which, it's Larry's turn. BE3 LWJ. Good evening, Larry.
His antenna fell down.
Yeah, well, I made it, so what do you expect?
I couldn't resist. Back to you, Laird.
Yeah, I think what it probably is every night Larry and the rest of his street go out on the front porch at 7:30 and bang pots and pans. So I'm sure he'll be back, but that's where he's probably at right now. So listen, I'm going to take one last quick check-in, call for check-ins before we head back up to the top. If anybody wants to join us this evening, now's your opportunity. Okay, nothing heard. So let's go back to the top to Jeffrey, VA3 RTV. Oh, and I just want to make a public service announcement. For anybody who is not a member of the North Shore and is not on our friends mailing list, and doesn't cost you anything to be on our friends mailing list. You just have to let me know that you don't mind getting email from me once a month. You're more than welcome to join our club meeting this weekend. If you didn't get a copy of the newsletter, I sent it out Saturday night, I think, or early Sunday morning, maybe Sunday morning, and would like to be on our friends list that would receive that, just send an email to me. It's I've got it up on the YouTube right now, but it's just my call sign, which is VE3LKS. That's Victor Echo 3 Lima Kilowatt Sierra at yahoo.ca. and we'll get you on that mailing list. But then let me know if you also want to join in on the club meeting. We're going to do our club meeting next Sunday evening. Let me drop it here. We're going to do our club meeting next Sunday evening at from 7 to 9 using Zoom video conferencing. So if you want to be part of that, send me an email and let me know. And then let me know if you also want to be on our friends mailing list. And we'll get you added and get the latest bulletin over to you. And then you'll receive all sorts of goodies like, well, we don't send out a lot of email each month. I try to limit it to 1, maybe 2 emails. And but you'll get notices of upcoming meetings and special events that we're having. So with that, all the way back up to the top to Jeffrey, VA3 RTV.
Yeah, thank you very much, Laird. And first of all, I'd like to say hello to Alan. Alan, it's Jeffrey, the one that steals your French fries that you didn't know. So I want to apologise for that. And I think there's also your friend Shelley. I think it's right, but maybe you can correct me there if I'm wrong. Any case, a couple of quick things. Trying to keep busy today. I've built a little wooden motorcycle from a kit, and also a perpetual calendar from a kit. So they're two little things that I had a lot of fun with. And with regards to the printer ink, we use HP 8600 series, and normally the black from Costco is $100 for 2 blacks, and the set of 3 colors is $100 roughly for 3 colors. So online, for $27, including all shipping, taxes, and everything else, you get 2 blacks and a full set of colors. So it's not original, but the reviews are excellent on it. So what a huge difference in price. And there's 2 of my mates have got the same printer, so I've got extra for them as well. And with that, back to you, Led.
Okay, very good. Yes, ink is just crazy, as far as it goes. As a matter of fact, the printers nowadays are almost disposable. If you run out of ink, you might as well go look for a new printer, because you're going to be spending more on the ink than you are on the printer. Now, mind you, the ink that comes with them isn't quite as big as the ink that you'll get on a refill, but still, you'll get the latest technology, and away you go. VA3 BTQ Jackie.
Hello, everybody. I haven't got much more to add, except Scam had a tremendously long, cold, wet walk today, and he's flat out on the floor recovering. Over.
How long did you have that poor little guy out for?
About 2.5 hours. Over.
Okay. Well, that's not quite as bad as some of them, because I know some of them you say you go for like 4 hours, and so that's not quite so bad. But yeah, the poor fella, he at least he's well exercised, that's for sure. And when for you're lucky for you, when he comes home, he does just want to sleep. VA3 DCE Doug.
VA3 DCE. I'm just thinking, Laird, if you did 2.5 hour walk, how long would the nap have to recover from that? Because you had a nap for doing what? The scamp there, he's a dog. He's supposed to be able to do this, but he's tired out. He deserves a lot of credit. Anyway, I'm enjoying that tonight. It's always the same. Smile on my face the whole time. Thanks a lot, Laird. Back to you.
Well, Doug, I'm slowly learning how to do naps from the king of naps, and I think you may know who that guy is. He's trying to teach Joe and I how to do it. So by the time we get to retirement, we're all worked into it and we're all ready to go. I'm just going to see if Larry's back with us. VE3LWJ.
Yes, thanks, Laird. LWJ here, and yes, I was distracted with the pots and pans. They're always at a rather inconvenient time every night with relation to this activity. I had been listening though, and one of the points that I wanted to follow up on was about how fast you have to think flying a jet. many years ago, I knew a chap who was in the Air Force in the 60s, and he had apparently claimed to be the fastest man in Canada at that time. And he told me that when you make a decision in the air, which way you want to turn, you're already 7 miles behind your target. That's pretty quick thinking. The other thing I wanted to mention, Laird, was that I was part of a Zoom meeting on the weekend that did not go well, and there's been a lot of critique about it since. And one of the things that people seem to think should be done is that everybody should upgrade. They do offer an upgrade for that Jordan program, so perhaps you could pass that on to the group before this coming Sunday. It might save us a bit of trouble too. Back to you, Laird.
Yeah, so was your car club using the free version like we do?
They were, and I think there was upwards of 40 people on it. I just don't remember, but my issues were that I got on. I had no problem getting on, but I was looking at a black screen with a whole bunch of black squares with people's names, and every once in a while the perimeter would light up. They were talking to each other, and I couldn't hear anything. And I left the meeting like 4 times and kept coming back, and I got this message to upgrade, so I did, and that didn't help. And I checked the volume on my computer, nothing worked. I just couldn't get on, and I was one of several people that had the same problem. And so no one really knows what happened, but it felt that if you had the upgrade, it could avoid some problems.
Yeah, okay. I'm going to do some digging into that this week and see if there's. I'm sure there's probably going to be all sorts of comments over the internet about that, because it is quite a popular program, and see number one what caused it. Number two, if it was mainly just the free version that was having the problem, or if it was everybody. Because usually servers don't care whether it's free or not. But yeah, I'll do some definite digging, Larry, and I appreciate having you bring that to our attention. And I like that comment. He says by the time you decide to make your turn, you're 7 miles past. And how true is that? I mean, those guys are just flying. So literally, but quite interesting. VE3CWR. I know Gerard said he may be back on the phone, but we'll give him a shot to get in here anyways. Okay, nothing heard from Gerard. I know he was a busy man on the phone tonight. VA3, TPS Steve.
Okay, Larry, very good. Great conversation. Lots of information. Not much else to add tonight. I'm just going to say 7-3 to everybody. Enjoy their evening, and hope everybody's looking forward to a nice week of weather, hopefully. So take care, and a great job, Laird, as always. Keep up the good work. 7-3, and I'll be listening to the NVA3 TPS in Fenelon Falls.
Oh, excellent, Steve. But between you and me, I want a crappy week of weather, and I want it to be nice Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, so I can get out and do some golfing maybe. But after being confined to the house, my golf clubs are just begging me to take them out and whack a few golf balls. It'll be quite funny, because the first time out, you're all over the place, and you'll have muscles in your legs and back that you didn't know existed since last year. And but I'm hoping for good weather on the weekend. VE3 VGJ Joe.
Yes, Laird. One thing I meant to mention first time around, came down Highway 115 there, just south of Peterborough, north of the 35 cutoff. And the police sure were out on the northbound lanes there. They had four locations. They had people pulled over in a matter of about 2 miles, 3 miles. It was something. They must have all at once got them. So they're really watching out for those speeders. Also, in regards to the printers, saw a little news thing on that, the cost of the cartridges, the ink cartridges, that. And basically, the printer's the loss leader. You pay for the ink, and that's where they make their money. Kind of like the lawnmowers are cheap at Canadian Tire, but it's all the other stuff you buy to go with it, they're high. And as far as banging pots, well, here today, to help the frontline workers and that, or to acknowledge them, I guess there was a parade around the hospital. I managed to walk over just as it ended. but it had to go on for 10 or 15 minutes where everybody paraded around the hospital honking the horns there. Quite the show there. It's nice to see that for the frontline workers there. Back to you there, Larry.
Yeah, a lot of good, kind gestures are being made. I guess the only concern I have with that is if you're a patient in the hospital, I guess the windows are thick enough that you probably don't get that much noise through there. But can you imagine if you're trying to sleep or rest, and at 7 o'clock or 7:30, everyone can by honking the horns? But no, it is a nice gesture for them to do for the staff, and it's just too bad. I mean, I think pretty soon they need to start opening up the hospitals more, though, because they've restricted a lot of the surgeries and treatments that have been going on, like that would normally go on, and pretty soon those are going to become an issue because some of those surgeries and treatments are life-threatening if they're not done. So they need to do something, otherwise they're going to have, unfortunately, fatalities due to not having the hospitals open for regular business. It's a tricky situation. I'm glad I'm not the one who has to make those decisions, but it's just the fact that those kind of situations are going to happen. I know we've got a family member out west that had to have crucial cancer surgery postponed, and when you're dealing with especially cancer, you don't want to hear the word postponed. You want to get rid of that as soon as possible, but we'll have to see how that all works out. VE3 PWJ, Peter.
Yeah, Roger there. But, I think Doug's doing it the right way. He's trying to do it so everybody's safe, and I'm all behind him 100% on that. I know there's other friends of ours, she's waiting for the surgery down in Bowensville there for cataract surgery, so she hasn't been able to go yet or been called to go. So I guess everybody's still got to wait a little bit, and I guess that's okay in most cases, I guess. Anyway, we'll say 7-3 from here. You have a good evening, and we'll listen for you tomorrow night. There'll be 3BWJ over to the 3LKS.
Yeah, and stuff like cataracts, they're not life-threatening as such. They're life-hindering in that they're a pain in the neck, but it's not like you're going to cause other medical issues necessarily if you don't have that done right away. It's all the other stuff that people need to have done urgently, and it's tricky, but I'm surprised they maybe haven't started to set up hospitals where if you need this done, this is where they're going to start doing this kind of treatment, and try to concentrate on certain areas, and maybe any of the COVID patients have centers available for them. Very good. And I noticed that Jack, he's tested positive again. Sorry about that, but he's not feeling any worse for wear. So this COVID thing is weird. I'm just going to drop it. A very small percentage of the people who get it actually have to be hospitalized, and the majority of them don't. As a matter of fact, people like Jack, who you would think may be more susceptible to feeling it, hasn't felt it at all. He wouldn't even know he had it probably if he wasn't told he had it. So interesting how that goes. Scott, VE3 RPN.
Sorry about that. Just had to fire the engine up. Just cutting a piece of skunk there, V3 RPN. I'm going to share it with Jackie. I seem to our Jeff there with the bar and grill's busy tonight. I thought I'd set up a curb pickup there, but we'd have to get our own roadkill and pick it up off the curb. I got a little bit of skunk. Jackie's getting the other. What else? I guess that's about it there. Oh my gosh, it's 10 to 8. I didn't realize time flies when you're being an idiot on the radio, like myself. Have a good one there, Laird. You're doing a great job, buddy. And I will finish my mess here, and I'll get you tomorrow night. V3 RPM. Over to you, net control.
Very good, Scott. And I'm assuming that you've got some sort of a milkshake in that vehicle that's evaporating, so you may want to get that home really quick. VE3XEQ, Christopher.
Oh, Laird. You can keep your hand off that big red edit button, because profanity is not my MO. I have a lot of respect for how hard I work for my licenses, and I'm not going to jeopardize it anyway. But it's okay. It's okay if you think I'm nuts, because, well, yeah, as you know, it's easier to get along in this life. And I've always been an advocate for the street people. And, I know a lot of people say, oh, I see the same guy over and over, standing on the same spot begging for money every day, and he's probably only going to go to the liquor store or whatever. But one thing you just got to keep in mind is that for him or her, it's a new day. And it's a new day of scrounging to get money for your food or whatever they do with it. It doesn't matter. But the point is, you're helping. And a lot of times the kindness is simply a kind word. If I have seen people, like a young man sitting on the concrete in front of a door. Well, I'm not saying about being extra proud of myself, but I go and I asked him, is it okay if I sit with you, we talk to you a bit? And I sit down on the concrete with him because I want to be at his level. I don't want to be looking down at him when I'm talking to him. Anyway, 7-3 everybody, that's my lecture for the night. And don't you worry about that edit button there, buddy. B3XQ.
Very good, Christopher. Yes, and the part about you being crazy, well, we hadn't noticed because that's sort of the normal on with the North Shore crowd. So if you're not a bit cracked somewhere along the line, chances are we won't accept your membership papers. Very good. Well, thanks for joining us again, Christopher, and always like those words of wisdom. VE3KZT, John.
Good evening again, Laird, and all those who are left on frequency. Well, I have nothing to add. I was going to add, did Cam check in tonight? I haven't heard him, or of course I was late checking in too. I have nothing to add to the net, so we'll see you tomorrow evening.
Yeah, no, I haven't heard Cam check in yet tonight, but we do have another 5 people to go, and then I'll take a last call. So maybe Cam will pop in then. We did see him on the weekend. We were up getting groceries at the grocery store, and he popped in when we were there, and he was actually brave enough to be out on his motorcycle. And of course, he looked like he had his full winter snowmobile suit on, but at least he was keeping warm, and it was nice. Let's see, VE3IRB, Robert. Oh, well, we'll come back to Robert in a minute. VE3HIX, Bob.
Good evening again, Laird. You got my curiosity up, so I had to go on Google Maps and look up Fort Knox. The place is a huge place, way bigger than I thought. And it wasn't Bullion Way, it was Bullion Boulevard there. Some of the names of the other streets, just for fun. One is called Hell on Wheels Division Avenue, Eisenhower Avenue, of course, Gold Vault Road. You can imagine that's the one that goes to the depository. There's a place called Radio Street. Have no idea why. And they have their own Young Street, but it's spelled a different way than ours. Back to you, Laird, E3HIX.
Excellent. Excellent sleuthing there, Bob. And hope you don't get a little knock on the door later on from CSIS inquiring as to why you were snooping on a U.S. Military base, but no, that's good. I'm quite sure it's Fort Knox. There was 2 or 3 forts in the U.S. that during the Desert Storm, or the most recent one, not the most recent venture into the Middle East there, where Canada, of course, wherever the Canadians go, Tim Hortons pops up, and they have their coffee and donuts and everything else. And the American soldiers got so used to it, and they really didn't put 2 and 2 together that it was part of Canada, because they were all grouped together. And so when they get back to their forts, and one of them I'm quite sure was Fort Knox, the soldiers were looking around and they're saying, hey, we don't have a Tim Hortons here. And the commanding officers say, well, what the heck is a Tim Hortons? He said, that was a fantastic coffee shop that we had when we were over in Kandahar. And so one thing leads to another, and pretty soon they now have a Tim Hortons there. And apparently Tim Hortons doesn't distribute in that area, but I guess the Air Force picks up all the supplies from somewhere up here in the Northeast and flies them down to that fort, and they've got a Tim Hortons now. So interesting. VA3 APZ, Alan, your turn again, sir.
Roger that. Jeffrey made a comment about Alan. There's two Alans in the club. It's the other Alan he was thinking about. Jeffrey arranged to have one of his friends. I had a boat model that I wasn't able to complete, that he made arrangements that I passed it along to one of his friends. And that's been a couple of years ago now.
Excellent, Jeffrey. Do you want to return to Alan?
Yeah, okay, Alan. Well, I'm sorry I got the two of you mixed up, but I know the Alan that I was taking his French rides. I know Scott used to help him as well. So yeah, I got a little confused there. Sorry about that. In any case, all the best to you. Back to you.
Roger, thank you.
Yeah, I think what Jeffries is saying is when you're not paying attention, he's stealing some French fries off your plate. You gotta watch that guy. Very good. Well, and again, Alan, nice having you with us, and hope you're able to make it in again this week. We enjoy having you. VA3AG Aldo, no, he may have been gone for Din, but we'll see if the dinner bell rang or not.
No, not yet. I'm still here. Still waiting. Speaking of Tim Hortons there, I heard what you said about them. Tim Hortons is one of our biggest customers. They're equivalent to about $10 million a year or something like that at our place. So keep going to Timmy's so that you can keep me working, QSL.
Oh, very good. Yeah, so when this is all over, we'll go back, we'll start gaining weight, and we'll blame it all on you, Aldo.
Okay. Well, anyway, we do all the bags for them, all the pockets, all the sandwich wraps, all of that. We're doing it right here, right in Whitby.
Wow.
I shouldn't say right here because I'm in Curtis, but right in Whitby there, Laird. Anyway, carry on. I probably won't be here for the next go around because I'm sure I'm going to be called upstairs. And, I won't be goofing off. When the call comes, I'll take off right away. 730 VA3AG.
Yes, when the wife hollers down the stairs, supper is ready, you stand at attention, you salute, and you make haste. Very good, Aldo. Well, you know what? To be honest with you, I'm not going to be here on the next round either, so that makes two of us. Very good. Enjoy your evening, and look forward to chatting again later this week. VE3LWJ Larry.
Yes, it's Larry, LWJ. We went for a nice little spin yesterday in the car. We haven't been doing much of that. We put together some sandwiches and some coffee, and we headed up towards Caesarea, and then past the Wolf Run Golf Course down the River Road. And down there we found a nice little lake and sat there having our sandwiches and coffee, and out to 35 and back home. The washroom, of course, dictated how long we were out, but it was a real nice outing. Back to you, Larry.
The little red car?
No, it wasn't the little red car. It was the Chev.
Larry. Larry, what are we going to do with you? Oh my! Oh well, it was a beautiful part of the day was beautiful anyway. So glad you're able to make the best of it. And yeah, we went for a drive Saturday afternoon, later in the afternoon, but it was still beautiful. As a matter of fact, it was probably better later in the afternoon than it was earlier on Saturday, and enjoyed that as well. And went to do some shopping on Sunday, and let me tell you, everywhere I went, Home Depot, Canadian Tire. Home Depot and Canadian Tire in Bowmanville, the TSC in Bowmanville, they all had a lineup of at least 30 or 40 people. So I did a lot of driving around that day too, and I didn't bother going in. So maybe this week on a weekday I'll sneak over and get into one of those places. Anyways, we've reached the bottom of the list, so I'm going to take one more standby here. If anybody would like to join in on the COVID-19 Rag Chew, now's your opportunity.
DKW.
Okay, that's Ryland, VE3DKW. Good evening, Ryland. And what kind of trouble did you and your dad get into this weekend?
Well, nothing much. We actually bought a new game on this app called Steam on your computer. And it's actually really fun. And while we were playing, we heard William call in earlier on last night, and we talked to him. And we will, if William is on the net right now, we will call you after the net, if that's okay. And that's all I have to say for right now. So back to you, Ed.
Yeah, if that's William VA3WBZ, he's not on the radio, but you can try calling him afterwards. He may join you. He was on YouTube though. I'm just trying to see. I haven't seen anything recently from him, but I know he was. Yeah, he said he won't be on the air tonight. But still, it's not where it's doesn't hurt anything to give him a shout. Maybe he'll be back at a spot where he will be able to talk on the radio again. Very good. Yeah, my youngest lad uses Steam quite a bit for games, and during this whole thing, it's been a pain in the neck for him not being able to get out, and no one's really hiring right now. He just finished school, and so he's been at least with a bunch of his friends that are also in the same boat. They've been making use of their time, at least playing games, keeping their manual dexterity up. That's what we can say. Very good. And with that, I think that's the end of the Rag Chew this evening. I just want to thank everybody for joining in. And as I always say, if it wasn't for you guys, we wouldn't have a Rag Chew. And so I appreciate everyone taking the time out of their schedule to check in, and looking forward to doing it again tomorrow night. And with that, I'll let Ryland put out a call for William. And if not, after that, it's a free-for-all. If anybody needs to contact anybody, well, it's back to normal use, so knock yourself out. This is Laird VE3LKS, and Ryland, I'll give you first shot at giving Bill a call.
VE3DKW to VA3WBZ.
Okay, everybody on YouTube, I'm shutting her down.
VE3DKW to VA3WBZ, and stand by.
You know what? I bet you Ryland has used his dad's radio more than his dad has. Great to hear young lads on there, though, on amateur radio. And he's a smart kid, too.